Ho, ho, ho! Merry Vlogmas!
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Griffin, and this is Griffin Projects, and it's day number 3 of Vlogmas, and you know what is so crazy? Yesterday's Vlogmas episode took me like 4 to 5 hours to edit. I don't know, maybe I'm just rusty, or maybe it was like the new editing style for that video or something. I don't know what happened. I ended up not going to bed until 8 a.m. this morning, and I got up around 11:30, and man, it has kind of been a cluster of a day, but not because I've actually been busy. It's more like a cluster up here in my brain where I'm like, oh crap, there's a lot of things that I need to do today. And I'm just like, oh crap, I need to get them done. Sometimes you just need kind of a low-key, cool, not necessarily relaxing, but not as crazy Friday. And that's kind of what I'm having right now. And I'm kind of all for it. One of the things that I'm actually the most excited about is this video, because what we're gonna do today is make a modern dresser. Now, why am I doing a modern dresser? Or why am I doing a dresser, period? Well, number one, I haven't done a dresser before, like designed one or made one. So there's that. I think every DIYer pretty much does every single project for one major purpose, which is necessity. So I've had this IKEA dresser for I think like 7 years. And you know what? It's been fantastic. Like, I have absolutely no complaints about it. I mean, it was like $100. So really, how could you really fault it, But here's the thing. It's having the same problem that I think every single cheap dresser has, which is the bottom of one of the drawers, or many of the drawers, in my case, just one, it fell out. I don't know what happened. I mean, I don't feel like I pushed that hard down, but here comes the fun part, is I've actually been thinking about the design up in my brain for, I don't even know how many months, to be completely honest with you, but it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. Normally you would say, oh, dresser, easy, box, some legs, drawers, done. Done. That's just not how things work here on Griffin Projects. We just can't do it that way, because the design in my head calls for a 5-foot by 3-foot by probably like 16, 17-inch dresser that is not just going to be a box. It's going to be a box with rounded corners, like radiused edges, like bent wood edges. And instead of legs or base or any of that stuff, we're going to take it and we're going to hang it on the wall, because, why not? With all that being said, it's time to do my favorite part of a project, which is take the idea from here and put it in here so we can go to the workshop and make it there and then bring it back here. Let's get to it. Okay, let's do it. We're in SketchUp. I'm going to start with making a rectangle 55 inches by 36 inches. That's going to be the overall width and height. Then, this is something I do all the time. I start setting up these guidelines, and I just think that it makes really good for reference and, accuracy and all that stuff. So I do it to the outside, then I'm going to move and put some in on each side at 2 inches in, because what you see that I'm doing here is I make the radius of each corner. I just found out over the years that if I'm going to bend wood, if I want to get to a 90 degrees that's still pretty tight and not loose, that 2 inches, a 2-inch radius is exactly what the doctor ordered, if you know what I'm saying. So I do it on all the pieces. Next, you're going to see me here. I'm going to move it over, and then I'm going to do the extrusion tool, or the push and pull tool, as it used to be called. And I'm going to make it about 16 inches. And then when this happens, when you have the radiuses, for some reason, SketchUp, you need these lines in SketchUp. Well, it makes it really difficult when you start adding like textures or like pattern or whatever, color. So what I do is I just grab the lines, I right click, and I select hide, and it hides the lines for me. And then it just looks seamless. And you'll see here, you'll see once I get to the part where I start adding color. But then I go to the offset tool, and I select the face of the front, and then I input by key 18 millimeters, and that gives me that. And then the next thing I'm doing is another offset, but I'm going to offset this by 1/16 of an inch. And when it comes down to it, like the final piece, I probably would go 1/8 of an inch, but for this design, this is just kind of a rough mock-up. And so right now you see that I'm just playing around with making sure that everything's kind of set up, you know, because I want to do an extrusion back, and sometimes there's an issue with that. So that's kind of what I'm going through at this point, is just figuring out the nuances of this version of SketchUp, which is 2017, so it's old version, but it's free. So you know what? We put up with the little nuances of SketchUp for the free software. At any rate, so now all I'm doing is I went ahead and extruded it back, but then I noticed that actually I didn't really want to do that. I just want it to be the front. So instead what I'm doing is I'm going around, I'm selecting the corners, as you can see, and then getting rid of them. So the line is still there, but the face isn't. And you see that I messed up right there. So I'm going to go through and fix my mess up, which, holy buckets, you know, it's just part of SketchUp sometimes. It is what it is. I'm really excited about doing this piece though, because it's the first time where I've done radiuses other than my nightstands I do on such a big piece. So definitely gonna have to use some joinery, and honestly it might make it easier, but I'll talk more about that in a later video. So now we're getting back to the front, which I would like to leave it just one big piece, but then we need to go ahead and do the back panel. Right now I'm hiding more lines. It's just one of those things. You don't even need to do it at this point because you're on the inside, you know, like, but the perfectionist in me is just like, nope, we're hiding the lines. So that's that. And now we're trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do for the back panel. So what I did is I grabbed the line, like the polygon rectangle, and then I copied it, pasted it, and then I extruded it about, I think it was 12 millimeters, half an inch. And that's going to be the back panel. I make it a component, then I set a nice guideline for 18 millimeters in. This is the back of the piece now. And then I move it into place to the guideline. It snaps in there. Boom, boom, boom. You see it. Very nice. Now onto the front. The front, what we need to do is make what appears to be drawers. And since this is just a mock-up, I'm not going to actually do the drawers. I'm just going to do the drawer faces. So now what you're going to see is I'm doing a lot of tape measure tool, and I'm just looking at all the numbers, and you can't unfortunately see when the screen capture is, but normally in the bottom right there's like a measurement little toolbar, and that's where you can like input the measurements that you want, or you can see what the tape measure tool is measuring, those type of things. But unfortunately in the screen capture it doesn't show it for some reason. So now I'm just measuring it all down. I decided that I'm gonna have 2 thin drawers at the top and then 3 big ass drawers. So I'm just kind of doing the math on that. I decided to do 4-inch drawers for the top 2, which, you know, that's relatively small, but I figured, you know, socks or, you know, undershirts or underwear, those type of things don't really require such a huge deep drawer. But I'm gonna do 3 pretty substantial, like 8.5 inch, it's around 8 for each of these next 3 drawers. So again, I'm just doing some math here off screen, being like, okay, what exactly am I trying to do here? Because, you know, we don't use the metric system, so it's like 21/64, you know. Anyway, so now I got it all guidelined out, and then I'm just gonna start adding lines using the guidelines. And that's what I'm doing here, going back and forth, making sure to add the lines. And then I delete the face between the two lines. And you'll see here in a second, but it pretty much shows you that these are going to be the faces of the drawers. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, this part gets pretty monotonous, I will say. But we're already sped up at over 4 times speed. So this model took me approximately 45 minutes to 50 minutes. But like I said, it was in my head for months. So I had a pretty good idea what I was going to do. And I'm pretty proficient with Sketchup. Now you see me with the drawer faces. I actually decided to extrude them, or try to. Here you see Sketchup's like, nope, we don't know. So at any rate, I do get it to extrude, but you'll see here in a second, there's another weird thing that happens. So now what I want to do is just grab the face. Oh, see, I wanted to grab one drawer and then it was selecting all of them. Turns out when I was deleting the faces, there was a line connecting between each drawer. So each drawer were connected by that line, and that means that the whole shape was connected. And so I couldn't make components for each one, which is something you'll see. So I'm deleting the line right now, so that way I can go ahead and make each drawer a component, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now. It's just something I like to do for all major pieces. The carcass is a component, the back panel is a component, the faces are a component, the drawer stuff, anything that's significant will become its own component with how I do it. But here you go, kind of a preliminary look at what it looks like before we start adding some color to it. I think it looks good, but it's gonna look a hell of a lot better once I pull in some Baltic birch. That just use that for a nice little color. As you can see, go in there, go into the component, I start messing around, putting the colors in. Now, when I do the carcass like this is so anal of me. Like, it doesn't really matter. You can see the grain. The grain's going every which way, so I'm like just fixing that because that matters, I guess. You know, it really probably doesn't in the end, but there's just no way that I could see it and be like, ooh, you know, if the grain was the wrong way. So, at any rate, that's what I'm doing, is I'm just adding some, like, I just like this color of Baltic birch. I probably will do it in Baltic birch plywood. That is if anyone has any stock. Turns out Chicago is pretty much sold out of it for quite a few months. So hopefully we'll find it. You'll find out as long as you're subscribed to the channel, because we're doing this during Vlogmas. But here we go. Now all the color's done. You can kind of see, it doesn't look too bad, right? You know, so I'm just kind of just looking around, seeing if there's any spots I missed to put like the texture down on. And then I immediately go into making it look good for like a screenshot. I kind of pose it a little bit. Something that I really like to do is I like to add fog and then a shadow. So you see I put the shadow, now I'm adjusting the fog. So now the fog just kind of lightens the texture of the lines a little bit. This time I decided to get rid of the lines altogether. So for the edge profiles, I got rid of them, all of them, and I thought it just looked better that way. So now I'm just messing with the background, so that way we can take a nice little screenshot or take a nice, you know, image save of this, and we're almost done. So here we go, put the white background in. Now I'm just moving it, getting it ready to go. As far as that goes, moving around the shadow a little bit to see, oh, okay, do I like it this way on the left, or do I like it on the right? I end up liking it more on the right, but then bringing it back in a little bit. There you go. So there you have it. Well, you got to see the design that was up here. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Me personally, I'm kind of falling in love with it. In fact, after I stopped doing the screen recording, I actually played around with some textures for the front faces of the drawers, and this is what I ended up coming up with. As you can see, I think that actually looks better. You know what it actually is? Is it's OSB sanded down, filled, sanded, possibly filled again, and then sanded, and then whitewashed. I've been waiting to use that technique or that type of material in something for a long time, and since it's for me, comment down below and let me know if you like the aesthetic of the kind of augmented OSB and if you like the long drawers. Because let me just tell you, at first I thought I was going to do a bunch of drawers, but then when I look at it with that, I don't think it needs it. And doing it just natural wood, I was like, it needed something. It needed like an accent. I think the OSB hits the mark there. So at any rate, let me know down below. And that's pretty much it for today. If you liked the video, make sure you like it down below. If you aren't subscribed yet, if you could do that, that'd be great, because we're only 3 days into Vlogmas, which we got a lot of days to go. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you're subscribed. And with all that being said, I'll see you tomorrow.